not necessarily why would you keep a bull from a first calf heifer. Maybe it's more like, how should you evaluate calves off of first calf heifers?
Yeah.
Like in general.
Right.
You know, to make it a little bit broader.
Sure.
You know, because it still applies to a female too.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But I definitely think out of a first calf heifer, your evaluation should, I mean, it should always be strict.
Right.
But your willingness to cull, I think, is maybe a little bit more there.
Yep.
On something that
yep.
you don't always know.
Right. And also, to that point, we're not breeding unknown.
Right.
You know, so all of the bulls that were used on the first calf heifers are proven bulls.
Sure.
Right. So we knew the genetic map on the bull side. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's one of the things that you should do with first calf heifer. Are you recording?
Yep.
Okay. So that's one of the things that you should do on a first calf heifer is you really need to make sure that you get the bull side right, because they haven't dropped the calf before. There is some unknown from that aspect. So when I look at my first calf heifers, and you know, they've got 3 of them that we've talked about have bulls out here. Actually, take that back. 2 of the heifers that we've talked about have bull calves on them. And so just comparing those two, one of the bull calves is more growthy than the other.
Mm.
But how much is that developed from the sire side, and how much of that is milk production?
Right.
You know, and so that's part of, you know, the more you do this over and over again, you'll know. But I can tell you right now, the one is definitely milk production.
Sure.
You know, Margot is just pumping the milk, and that's why her calf is the biggest bull calf that we have out here.
Mm-hmm.
When you got 2 calves that were born within a week of each other. But I think that's really important when you're looking at first calf heifers for bull prospects, but also for female prospects. It's just as important.
Mm-hmm.
Because those cows can change over time, so you have to have that map, that road map that got you there to why did you choose this cow to stay in your herd in the first place, or why did you buy her in the first place. So you know about genetics, but what were the phenotypes that got you there, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did that heifer's udder look like, right? What did her sire improve on that cow? And that's the benefit here is all of these first calves that we're talking about, I've had other animals that were either full sibs or half sibs out of their mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And out of their sires. So I've been able to look at them, and so that's an advantage I have that probably not every Highland breeder has, especially if you're just starting off.
Right.
You know, so that's why it's important to have lots of discussions with whoever you're buying your heifers from or your bulls from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And these bull prospects, they're AI sires. You said that they have a lot on the ground that you know about and you like. What are some qualities that you're specifically looking for in these AI sires for first calf heifers?
Yeah, so the first most important thing for a first calf heifer is birth weight of that calf. You know, we don't want to create a train wreck. You know, the worst thing you can do with a first calf heifer is breed her to an unknown bull, right? So I see this all the time where people go and buy a starter herd and they buy a young bull and they buy young females and they say, we're going to make babies. The problem with that is that bull is unknown. You know, so even if his sire and his dam had small calves, you could argue that that is known, he's never produced a calf. So in my world, you should never use a bull, whether it's conventional breeding out in the pasture or whether it's AI, without having seen calves out of that bull. So that, to me, birth weight is the most important thing that you look at. Mm-hmm. And then after birth weight, I want to look at that cow, that female, or that heifer that we're going to make into a cow, and look at what characteristics are we trying to prove on. And so no matter what, the bulls have to be structurally sound, or mostly structurally sound. Again, there's no perfect animal. So feet and legs, if I can see any of their female prospects, and the advantage that I have is I've been breeding with these genetics for a while in some cases, or I've been to the farms where these animals have come from, like Wild River Bear, for example. I've been to that farm, I've seen other females, and I've seen his dam, and I know what that looks like. some of these others, I'm going off of history of talking to other breeders. Like we have an Easy Acres cow bull out here. The people that had that, Thor Barden's ranch, aren't here anymore, but their ranch manager is Cody. And so I've talked to Cody before. We've talked about, you know, some of these genetics, and enough other people have also used Easy Acres Kyle, so I'm not the first. So I've seen other Easy Acre Kyle daughters out there, and I know he was a 2,400-ish pound bull. He was giant. He is about producing production in meat. So I'm just matching those traits up with those different females.